And welcome into this edition of ACAP Today for the week of October 3rd, 2022. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this week's edition of ACAP Today, we're going to talk with ACAP's Workforce Development Lead, Kathy Williams, about some new programs that ACAP has to help better engage youth in the local workforce. We're going to talk with Kathy about that in just a minute, but before we get to that, as we do at the beginning of each program, we're first going to get to the news and information that you can use again for the week of October 3rd, 2022. And we begin with this. ACAP is hosting a brand new event in partnership with other community partners called the Community Baby Shower. It's an opportunity for the community to help families engage in things that would be helpful to new parents in particular. Now, each of the two sessions, which will be held on Friday, October 28th at ACAP 771 Main Street Presque Isle Customer Service Center, each of those two sessions at 10 a.m. and at 12:30 p.m. Begin with a short informational talk on safe sleep, followed by a number of vendor tables and opportunities to connect with local agencies and resources that are especially helpful to parents with new babies in the household. Space is limited for each of these, so we're encouraging people to register. You can do so on the ACAP website. Those who do attend will receive a free welcome baby bag full of useful items and information to help them support their new baby. So again, that's the Community Baby Shower happening at the end of this month, Friday, October 28th at ACAP's Customer Service Center, those two different sessions. We encourage you to sign up for one of those sessions. We move on now to another activity happening now that we've turned the calendar page into October, and that's our prevention team encouraging folks to take the Sober October Pledge. This is essentially inviting you to say that throughout the month of October, you will refrain from having any alcoholic beverages and making a commitment to yourself and others that increases the chance that you will stick with it. We're trying to sort of recreate the social norm of the need to have an alcoholic beverage when you're in a social setting or just to relax at the end of the day. Now, there will be a community of support that will be provided electronically. Weekly emails will be sent. A private base group is being set up. There'll be invitations to gatherings and events that will be held throughout the month, and there'll be a prize drawing at the end of the month, and that will be for a SodaStream bubble maker for the beverages to help have a carbonated beverage made out of regular water from the tap. So we do encourage you to sign up for Sober October. You can go to ACAP's Facebook presence or our webpage to sign up and take the Sober October Pledge. We also want to let folks know of a relatively new program. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks here now, but if you're having difficulty paying your water or wastewater bill, there's a brand new program that Maine Housing is putting up, and they're administering it right out of Maine Housing. So don't necessarily call ACAP unless you need connections to get to Maine Housing, because it all goes through Maine Housing. You can go to mainehousing.org to find out more about this limited time program to assist those Maine residents who might have fallen behind or are having difficulty paying their drinking water and wastewater bills. This is another one of the pandemic era programs and a relatively new one that's been stood up by Maine Housing. We're also reminding, now that we've turned the page on the calendar again into October, we have a few events coming up. Last month, we held our partnership, our preschool partnership open house, if you will, at our Fort Kent Center in Fort Kent on the 15th of September. We have 3 more coming up with our new preschool partnerships that have just started this fall. On October 18th, that's coming right up on a Tuesday, October 18th, we'll be at our 17 Bowles Road Center in Caribou with officials from RSU 39, who are the partners in that program, talking about the service that we offer with early Head Start, and wraparound childcare services that allow parents to work a full day and not have to worry about moving their child from a preschool environment to an alternative childcare provider. Similarly, we'll be in Limestone at their community school, speaking about the program there with Limestone community officials on the 20th of October, the Thursday, the 20th of October. And then the following Tuesday, we'll be in Van Buren at the Van Buren District Secondary School with SAD 24 for the new partnership classroom there, and invite community members, community leaders, and others who want to come in to celebrate at any one of those celebrations with us to do so. We also are, again, reminding you of this coming up really quickly here. It's actually coming up this Saturday, the first one of the 2 Hope and Justice Family Fun Days. for October to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's a family fun day of celebration honoring survivors and their families and helping obviously to raise awareness about domestic abuse. There'll be games and activities for all ages, music, door prizes, and agency service providers will be there to speak with folks. It's this Saturday, October 8th. From 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Monument Park Amphitheater in Holton. If you want more information on this event, the number's there on your screen, 532-4004. And we're still in this season. This is the final month for the Gons Berry Farm, celebrating ACAP's 50th anniversary, a great opportunity on a weekend or even on a weekday if you have younger children not in school yet, or if you're a senior and want to go check this out. Gons Berry Farm is open 8 to 5 Monday through Saturday and 10 to 5 on Sundays. It's a great opportunity to check out the corn maze, get some wonderful ice cream, including the new ACAP special flavor, a Rustic Dream, and to learn more about the agency as you take the maze through the corn maze, take the games that are happening in the corn maze. Again, head on over to Gons Farms. The corn maze ends officially on Halloween Day on the 31st of October at the end of this month. And we also are reminding people that we are considering or continuing to look for both clothing and for volunteers for our community closet. We especially are in need of volunteers right now. If you'd like to complete some volunteer hours and help us out with organizing and sorting and hanging clothes and getting it out into the community cupboard, you can contact ACAP's community engagement specialist, Kim Garrett Michaud. Her email address and her phone number are there on your screen, or just call the agency and ask for Kim. And the Home Energy Assistance Program is well into another season. They've processed over 2,500 applications at this point and are well ahead of last season. If you are in need of an appointment, I understand that they are scheduling out now into November, so just a little over about a month away now. But it's certainly worth it if you think that you might qualify economically to apply for the Home Energy Assistance Program. The income guidelines are there on your screen. Focus on the 1 month income. And if you've had any change in just the last month in your income and you feel like your household size will drop at or near or under or near that income level, please do reach out to us and schedule an appointment, because we're just basing it on 1 month's worth of income. So if you've had a reduction in your household income and have never been eligible for the HEAP program before, give us a call so we can get you in. And we are wanting to remind people that it is a flu vaccine clinic season. Both of our partners here in Central Aroostook have released the dates for their free vaccine flu clinics. Both the Northern Light AR Gould Hospital, which has a number of them coming up this week on the 6th, next week on the 15th, so in Mars Hill, Caribou, and Fort Fairfield. And also our partners at Cary and Pines have a number of those coming up this week and into the end of the month. We encourage folks to take advantage of these free, in some cases, drive-through flu shot clinics offered by these two healthcare providers. We have not been informed of any such clinics being offered by Northern Light AR Gould Hospital, the Northern Maine Medical Center up in Fort Kent or Holton Regional Hospital. We continue to look for that information for you, or from the federally qualified health centers like Katahdin Valley Health Center and Fish River Rural Health, though we understand that they do take individuals and give flu shots at their practices on a regular basis. And speaking of vaccinations, the COVID-19 vaccine is still available, and a new booster fighting the Omicron variant is available now. If you are 12 or older, you can get an updated vaccine if it's been at least 2 months since your last dose, and we're encouraging folks to do that as well. If you need more information on that, go to maine.gov/COVID-19/vaccines. If you need assistance finding an appointment nearby you, you can call ACAP at 764-3721, and our reception team can do some online research for you if you're unable to get online yourself to find an available appointment nearest you. Speaking of COVID, free COVID tests remain available. They've actually just updated Project Act. I'm going to focus on that one this month. People can go onto their website monthly to place their order. So if you haven't been on yet, we've just rolled into a new month. If you haven't been on yet in October, go to accesscovidtest.org and you can place your order there for a new free set of tests with the accesscovidtest.org site. And Community social support services continue to be offered for ACAP for individuals who have been asked to isolate or quarantine because of a diagnosis of COVID-19, and those can include grocery and meal delivery. If you find yourself in that position, call us at 764-3721 or go to the DHHS website and look for community care for social supports, and you can ask and request to receive those services right through there. And whether it's COVID related or unrelated to COVID, but you or your family are finding yourself in need of any assistance at this time, please do not hesitate to call us here at ACAP at 764-3721. We have navigators that are standing by who can advise you of services and connect you and loop you into services, whether they're with our agency or at community partner agencies outside of ours. So please do not be shy. If you're challenged with something, give us a call so that we can help connect you with services. And with that, that's this week's news and information that you can use. I'm so pleased now to be joined on the program by Kathy Williams, who leads ACAP's workforce development initiatives across the agency. Kathy, welcome to ACAP Today.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
So Kathy, we're really excited about a couple of new funding sources that are allowing us to really expand our work, specifically with younger populations in Aroostook County, to connect them with workforce opportunities, or at least to engage them in thinking about what they might want to do for a career. So talk to us about these two opportunities and why you're so excited that we're adding them to the portfolio of programs that we have here.
Sure. So we got two grants. One is called an extended learning opportunity, and it's to serve youth ages 16 to 21. It's a 2-year grant. The goal and the purpose is to assist youth to gain a better understanding of their career opportunities and to acquire valuable skills that will create meaningful opportunities with them and employers. So kind of to look at what it is, maybe they don't know what they want to do. So by, meeting with employers and going in and doing a job shadow or something like that, it's going to help them make those career decision choices. That grant, again, is a 2-year grant. We are collaborating with Meg Hegman and her team here at ACAP, the prevention team. It's a 60-hour paid job shadowing curriculum-based event that they have to do. So the prevention team will do a 20-hour curriculum based on their breakthrough youth curriculum, focusing on financial literacy, making sound decisions against substance use, practicing necessary soft skills that a lot of employers are looking for, and how those work into the workforce. So it's 60 hours, 20 hours of curriculum, 40 hours of a job shadow, which once they've done the curriculum part, my staff in workforce will go in and help them find places to do this job shadowing. It's all paid. They get paid to do it. So it's really exciting to see to see how this is going to help youth and work with employers to maybe get rid of some of those negative thoughts around the whole youth. They come with baggage and, they don't want to do this, and, they need to come into the 21st century. So I think it's going to be great working with the youth as well as employers to bring this grant and pull it off and do it well and serve the youth. So that specific grant will actually be working with local schools. And it's going to be the outer schools because UMPI got a grant as well, and they're going to be focusing on Caribou and Pascal. So we're going to work on the outlying towns, and we actually have started with Fort Fairfield, kicked that off, did a meeting last week with the students and the JMG coordinators, and actually prevention team started this week on the 20 hours of curriculum. So that one started. We've got a couple people enrolled in that, and that's going.
What's that response been like, that initial response? What has that initial response been like? Because I know you have programs, traditional workforce development programs that maybe youth in those schools maybe haven't been able to access in the past, but this is different. These are open to a wider cross-section of the community, correct? This
is different because there are no income guidelines. There are, and with our youth program with WIOA, there are income guidelines. If these kids that are in school their families have to be low income. And with this grant, that's not so. There's nothing. So any youth between 16 and 21 is eligible for it. We had a lot of interest when we went and did the first meeting with them to explain what it was about. We didn't, when we started Monday, we only had 2 ladies who showed up. We had 8 people who actually said, yes, they were interested. And so when I contacted the other ones, they, can I do it later? So this is a 2-year grant. So we're starting out slow, but, we'll continue on. And I think that once the kids find out what it really is and maybe get some feedback from the other youth that have attended it, we'll help bring some more in. And then again, we want to start slow. We'll start at Fort Fairfield, then we'll move to another school and so forth, and work it that way. So it's a great opportunity. The other grant is the career exploration grant, youth career exploration grant, when we're calling it the Children's Cabinet grant, because that's where the funding came from. That is designated for youth that are 16 to 24. And again, no income guidelines. So the ones that fall between the cracks and don't meet our regular WIOA programs, this is a great opportunity for them. And it's the focus is the same thing, to work with them and employers to make both understand what it is that's going to make a good employee. What kind of career choices do you want? And get those employers on board to look at some of the things, some of the things that are holding the youth back from going to work, right? So this one is a longer, they don't have to do the curriculum part of it. It's more to develop work experience positions for the youth, to help them understand what career opportunities that are out there in our community, to help them gain skills and knowledge in the workforce, and create those meaningful connections with employers, so that they have something to offer once they're done this learning activity, right? So they've learned skills and soft skills that employers say that are so very, very important, that hopefully they'll learn these and maybe get a mentor, in this whole process that can help them through some of those things. Again, and just gaining that work experience, and it allows them some meaningful opportunities and experience that they can take with them whatever they do. The other part of it is also that, it's working with them to say, is this what you want to do? Is this the career choice you want to go? Not everybody wants to go to college and further their education, and that's okay. That's okay. So let's help them find out what they want to do and where they want to go, and how we can help them with that. This is a more extensive job work experience. This can last up to 7 weeks, or 289 hours, depending if they do a part-time, if they're in school still, or if they just do a 40-hour week. It could go up to 7 weeks. And again, it's all paid. There are tons of money in. There's money in both grants, but one of the grants, especially the one with the in-school youth, the extended learning opportunity grant, there is a lot of support service dollars. And when we were talking about how to use that in this grant for these students, we looked at what are some of the barriers, right? And what is the biggest barrier in Aroostook County? Transportation. So we thought, why not, with these kids, help them get their driver's license, pay for driver's education. How many low-income families, or even not low-income families, can afford, that's just another expense to pay for driver's education. So that could be a support service for them. If these kids are on a work experience and they don't have money for lunch, we'll help them. We'll provide them some lunch. If they can't get there, they don't have transportation or gas, we're going to find a way to do that. Maybe they're going to go in a plant and they don't have the clothing or boots or something that they need to do that. There is so much support service money to help these kids be successful that we can do all these things for them. So that's a great opportunity for them, and excited to see how that's going. We actually, in the career exploration, the Children's Cabinet grant, have 4 individuals already enrolled in that and working. So that's great.
So we chatted about how you have, gotten these programs off the ground, connected with the schools to start to connect with the youth. Sounds like a big component, and also the support services for students. Sounds like another big component of that, though, is the connections with employers. And I'm assuming you're using the base of connections that our ACAP workforce development team has had with employers. But as you're meeting and talking with employers and looking at placements for some of the youth, what are you hearing from local employers about their receptivity to this and their thoughts about this program?
So that part we haven't really done a whole lot with yet because we just started these the 1st of September. But I really want to focus on, so we have our department, ACAP, has a good work relationship with some of the employers out there that where we place people on work experience. And so I'm hoping that they're going to be as excited about bringing in youth and teaching them and having a say in, what keeps our youth here, right? So if we can't provide them with the employment and education that they need to stay in Aroostook County, we don't want them all leaving. I mean, some are going to leave, but we want to keep our kids here. And so I'm hoping that the employers will think that same way and be very receptive to doing the work experience with them and teaching them. And it may be that they don't have a position after the work experience is done, and it may be that they do. So I'm real excited about that part of it.
So are you thinking that there'll be a sort of a cadre or a number of different businesses that are going to want to sign up for this project, and then you'll match youth with them? Or are you thinking we're going to chat with the youth, find out what they're interested in, and go and target and ask the specific business or nature of business that the youth are interested in, and ask them to take on a youth? Or is it both?
So it will be both. Again, we already have a good relationship with businesses, but we're going to focus on the youth. What is it you want to do? Maybe, and my thoughts were, and it might be hard to do that, but say somebody wants to be a radiology tech. Can we get them into the hospital to do a job shadow? So let's work with the youth and find out where their goals are, what their career choices are, and then find the employers that will take them on. They may find out once they do that that's not what they wanted to do. And so then we're just going to sit back and say, okay, let's try something else. What might that be? So it's not going to be a, here you are and you've chosen this and there you've got to do it. So it's really a job shadow. Do I want to do it and do I not want to do it? So I think, Jason, to answer your question, is really focusing more on the youth first and say, well, what is it you want to do? How do we figure that out? And let's find an employer that will work with us and let you do that job shadow.
And that's really, Kathy, what we're looking at, because you mentioned, if you want to be a radiation technologist or something to that effect, we're not looking at necessarily matching youth up to, work as a server at their local restaurant or what have you. We're talking about sort of the dream aspirational career opportunity and connecting them with an employer and a workplace that might be able to sort of help mold what future career they want to go into beyond just sort of the immediate part-time job of a traditional high school student, for example.
Exactly. And then to further that, then we've got them, then we can, through our WIOA youth programs, help them with college, if that's what it might be. And it may not be that they need the financial support. It might be they need the help just applying. How do I apply? How do I get my financial aid? So we're a great resource to help them with that as well.
And I think the great thing about this too, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you go to these public schools and you cast this net. If in the process you're finding youth who are first eligible for the WIOA program, you're going to use existing and available resources so you can enroll more youth in the larger program or the more recent program, because you're going to sort of co-enroll or get youth enrolled where they fit in the program.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
So excited to see how it works, and to see how, if we can just pull it off and work with these youth and work with employers and bring everybody together in a happy little community.
So speaking of community, you mentioned Fort Fairfield. That's sort of where the initiative started, and with the local school there. Do you progressively begin to roll into other school districts, or are you pausing and saying, let's get the Fort Fairfield program off the ground and then move on at some point? I mean, if I'm, a student at Holton High School, when can I expect that the ACAP team is going to show up at my doorstep and offer this program?
So I think that's some communication that I'm going to have with the prevention team, because again, they'll provide that curriculum. And again, having to work with them because they're in school youth. And so when can we do this, right? The whole 20 hours of curriculum time is probably the harder piece to work on, where the job shadowing and stuff can be done during the summer, right? You would think or during Christmas break or during spring break, because it's a short period of time for that program. But it's the grant has run for 2 years consecutively so that we have 2 full summers. So it may be that we get the curriculum done during the year, during their breaks, and then during the summers when they do a lot of their work experiencing and job shadowing in those 2 summers.
And you're saying work experiencing and job shadowing, it's not limited to one job shadow? Like
So you know what? They might do 10 hours at the hospital in radiology and say, oh, nope, that's not what I want. Maybe I want to be something else. So let's explore that. Right. It's a career exploration. You know, I don't want somebody to settle saying, you know, gee, I said I want to do this and now I have to do it. If that's not what you choose, then let's move on to something else. So it doesn't have to be just one.
Great. And better to do that exploration before you're in your second semester of your second year at college and realizing that's not the career for you.
Realize this is not what I want. And now my parents have gone, you know, and spent a lot of money to get me to college. And so yeah, it's a career exploration. Let's find out what really fits you.
So odds are it's probably a parent and not necessarily a child that's watching us through this platform, whether it's online or on one of the Valley Cable Access channels that we air on. How does a parent in one of, you know, if their child is in the Fort Fairfield School Department, they're saying, gosh, I want to get my youth involved in this program. Can they reach out and call us and call you and we can sort, or do you want folks to just wait till we get to your school district kind of thing?
I do not. They can reach out to me anytime because, again, it's whatever's going to fit into their schedule. The curriculum can be done at any time through this whole process. So if I know, like Fort Fairfield is starting now, some of those students might not get done for a year because of school, because of life. So they might do their curriculum in 4 or 5 different days. It just happened to be that Fort Fairfield's on harvest break this week, and those students were able to go in. So it could take the whole year to do whatever it is. So I encourage them to call me, and we can do one-on-ones, we can do groups. If there's an interest, we'll go into that school as soon as we can get there.
Great to hear. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What have we missed? What have we not talked about these 2 new exciting opportunities that we wanted to make sure people know about?
I just want them to make sure, I want people to know that it is free. There are no qualifications other than the age. So don't think that, you know, hey, just because we make money, you know, our kids can't attend and can't use this or get this opportunity. The age is the only requirement, 16 to 21 or 16 to 24, whichever grant they're eligible for. It's not based on an income. It's not based on anything. So
college students potentially at the University of Maine at Fort Kent could be eligible for this, or
they could.
Okay.
They could. Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Kathy Williams, thank you so much. It's a fascinating couple new programs here, and I think providing opportunity regardless of income eligibility, which I think a lot of folks who I know that you've worked with a number of youth across our area, and gosh, it really is that painful pinch point when they don't qualify for whatever reason. And it sounds like this is open to a much more broad cross section of our community.
I think that's probably the hardest thing, is to tell somebody you're not eligible because you make too much money.
Yeah.
Really. That probably is the hardest thing. And then it's like, then where do I go to get help? So again, there are no income guidelines. Right.
And obviously the workforce in Aroostook County needs young people. It needs to encourage young people to look at careers that are available to them right here. And hopefully a number of our employers will, in this age category where one program goes up to 24, will be able to maybe continue some youth in and move them right into positions within their.
That would be wonderful.
Indeed. All right. Well, Kathy Williams, thank you so much for joining me to talk about, again, these 2 wonderful new programs, and so glad to hear that the accessibility to those programs is pretty much open to just by age alone. That would be the qualification standard, and that's great to hear. So thank you so much. Before we leave you and before we leave our audience out there, we want to just do one last thing, and that's to share with you our throwback snapshot of the week. At the end of each program, we provide a photo of the week, and through this 50th anniversary year at ACAP, we've been throwing photos back to yesteryear, and this year, or this week, I should say, we take you to our Goulville Early Care and Education Center in the year 2007, where some of the children had done some artwork on the walls outside of the building, on the front side of the Gouldsville Early Care and Education Center there on Parsons Street, facing Parsons Street. And so we thank these kiddos. I have to say, I wonder where they're at today. And Kathy, I would say, gosh, isn't it sad? They probably outgrown the program. We could get them into
I think they've
their
aged out of
program.
it.
God, that's sad to think that the kids who were that age in 2007 are no longer under 24. Yikes. All right. Well, we thank you for that, Kathy. We thank you for the conversation and for sharing the information with us. For all of you, we'll be back next week with another edition of ACAP Today when we look at some other information from the agency, some other programs and services that we offer. Until then, have a great week, everyone.